Howdy folks, long time between amp repairs, but today we got this huge beast, and let me tell you, it weighs a frickin' ton. Three 10-inch speakers looks like, maybe 12s, I'm not sure, but I reckon they're 10s. Amp was cutting in and out, causing issues. It didn't come to me like this. I kind of started repairing it, and then I kind of went, oh, hang on. And of course the phone rings. So anyway, what we're going to do, really simply, is we're going to replace the power tubes. This is a quad matched set of EL84s, and you can see the glass on them is pretty black. The other thing is, the owner has confirmed with me that these are the original tubes. So they've been in here for close to about, what, 30 years? I think he said he bought this amp in 1980. Or in the 80s sometime. So even let's say 20 years. Okay, that's still a long time. So you know these tubes are well and truly baked. So we're gonna order a new set and put them in. Bias the amp if we have to. If we don't have to, even better. It'll cathode bias. We just pop them in and turn the amp on and look for smoke, look for sparks, look for, you know, check all the other stuff. I did notice the preamp tubes are all different. I think this one's a, what do we got here? Let's have a look. There's a mini watt made in Australia. Okay, we'll leave that in there unless there's something horribly wrong with it. That's a Mullard. I think this one's a Fender groove tube. So that's a bit more modern compared to the rest of them. And the last one here, that's another mini watt as well, made in Australia. So that looks like the phase inverter there. We'll change the power tubes first. And yeah, we'll see how we go. So stay tuned. And these are the tubes that came out of the amp. They're all EL34s, which is nice, but you can see they're not matching. This was the exact order they came out. Looks like you got two Sovtecs made in Russia, possibly 99 models, and I can't tell what that is. Is it a Telefun? No, not Telefunken. I'm not really sure what brand that says on there. Something Decron, Edicron, maybe. Anyway, EL84, but here we've got the Russian tube moniker, which is E6MK5, I believe. That's the Russian numbers they use for EL34s. But anyway, the two outside ones are Sovtecs. They're also made in Russia. EL84 6BQ5, which is the more traditional numbers that we're more familiar with. But anyway, I'm gonna order a quad match pair of those, probably a set of JJs. Or maybe some Sovtecs if they're in stock. See how we go. What I found was that the power tubes are faulty. Now I've got a set of what I would call sacrificial tubes. They're good for just sort of shoving into an amp and just testing and making sure. Because look, 9 times out of 10, most of the times, unless an amp has been messed with, or you know it's fallen down a flight of stairs, or it is really old, then 9 times out of 10 it's the tubes that are the problem. So first thing I do is turn the amp on, and I just, you know, I want to make sure that there's no issues, no red plating, things like that, things that can really go wrong. So I'm going to come in a bit closer here and kind of have a look, and I'm not seeing any issues. And I grab the lead here, and helps if I actually turn the volume up. Well, turn it up a bit more. There we go. So we're getting sound out of the amp. This is going to be an easy repair. So new set of tubes, check the bias. Let's turn that standby off. Now you'll notice something unusual here. The standby switch stays on, but it starts to get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. That's actually pretty cool because that is the filter caps discharging. How neat is that? I'll do a bit of research on these amps because I've never played with one before. I'll check if it's cathode biased or it's fixed adjustable bias or it's completely fixed bias or whatever it's set up to be. I'll make sure that the new tubes I put in are going to serve the customer fine for the next 10, 15, 20 years. They did tell me they pretty much a very sporadic player. It sits in their house, in their bedroom or garage or whatever, and they turn it on for a couple of hours once a month or something like that. So the valves that I put in are going to last a long time. So folks, while I was waiting for the power tubes to arrive, the EL84s here, I thought I'd go online and look up the schematic for this amp. Because it is full of circuit boards, I thought, I'm not going to have fun tracing this. I'd rather just get the schematic diagram. And I also wanted to know if I have to bias these tubes when I put the new ones in, because that's important to know. We need to know what sort of bias we're looking at, whether it's a fixed bias or a adjustable bias or cathode bias or whatever it may be. And looking here, I thought I'd just go through and explain how to figure out if your amp is cathode biased or tube biased. So looking, what I'm going to do is, you don't need to look at all the tubes. I'm just going to look at one. So here, pin 3, we have the cathode, okay, which is also connected to this grid up here as well. Okay, you can see this line internally connecting to it. So pin 3, and the next tube's pin 3, and so on and so on. So that's all cathode. But if you follow the diagram, follow my cursor here, okay, that's connected to pin 3, and so are these other tubes down here. So they're just written upside down or printed upside down. But basically, there's pin 3, and there's pin 3, and they all connect up to here to this jumper, which goes straight to ground. So that tells me that the amp is not cathode biased. Generally, when your cathodes are going straight to ground with no resistor in the way, you would see a resistor here if it was cathode biased, and a capacitor too. So that isn't cathode biased. Now, what we will do though is we're going to look at tracing some other lines. So here's pin 2. Let's follow that one. So that goes down this way through that 2.7k resistor here, okay? And you can see here pin 2 is also connected here. And if we go down, we've got this 500 volt cap sitting right here, okay? 470 picofarad, 500 volt. That's giving us a bit of a sign. And we've got this pin 2 down here connected through the same resistor, 2.7k, and another pin 2, 2.7k, and it's all going to here, and it's connected up to this little set of resistors here, 220 kilo ohm, 220 kilo ohm, and there's a test point here, test point 17, which we're going to look at in a second, because this diagram also gives us the voltages to expect at the test points. How good's that? But we've got a jumper here, and it goes to B minus. Hey, so that's telling us that this is a fixed bias, not cathode bias. Now, B minus will connect to the part of the power supply. So I'm going to scroll up a little bit, and we can see this is the very typically not found in vintage valve amp, unorthodox power supplies. In a vintage valve amp, you'll have your diode rectification, whether it's tube or solid state, and then you'll have your filter caps, and then you'll have your nodes coming off the filter caps. So looking here, I found B minus sitting right here, and if you look, this is ground, and the positive side of this 35 volt 10 microfarad cap, the positive side is going to ground, which tells us the negative side is going to B minus. If we follow this backwards a bit, we have this 15 kilo ohm resistor here and a 100 ohm resistor here. And if we follow this line up again, it gets to this point right here where there's two 1N4007 diodes. And what this is doing is this is providing the negative of, if you look at this whole square right here, okay, this entire 4 diodes here, you'll look at that and go, oh, that kind of looks like a full wave bridge rectifier. Yeah, it is, because positive is coming off this side and negative is coming off this side. And what they've done is they're using the negative side of the full wave bridge rectifier, instead of it going to ground, well, it is going to ground, but it's going through this cap and this resistor, and then bypassing it and going this way and heading over to our, where is it? Our B minus here, providing our negative bias. Now, the other thing I wanted to look at is there's test points here. Test point 30 at the bias supply, and there's also test point 17 where it splits the bias supply. Okay, and if we're going to zoom in here, let's see if we can zoom in, and I hope you can read this. If you can't, I'll read it to you. Okay, we've got a little legend here on the side. Test point 17, DC voltage minus 15.6 volts. Okay, that's on clean channel, and on dirty channel it's the same thing, because that won't change, because clean and dirty is more to do with your preamp stage instead of your power amp stage. You've also got things like test point 20, which I won't go through the diagram and show you, but this is the speaker output, and it says 45 volts point to point. That shows you the sine wave on the clean channel, and then look at that, it shows you the sine wave for the dirty channel, and it says 50 volts point to point, because obviously the dirty channel is going to be pumping more wattage and more voltage through as well. So how good is that? What a great little diagram. So Crate, good job in having a exceptionally well designed circuit board diagram / schematic. Alrighty folks, I've got the new quad set of JJ EL84s in here. I kind of took the amp apart because I had to take the cover off because this clip had fallen inside. Two things wrong with that. One, it's actually the clip that this screw goes into, so it holds the amp upwards. Secondly, it was floating around inside here. A big no-no. With the high voltages going through here, you definitely don't want it to, you don't want it to short out anything. This also gives me an opportunity to look through the amp, and I did, and I can't find anything wrong with this at all. So I'm pretty confident that just by putting these new tubes in, everything's going to be fine. So let's plug it in and find out. Alrighty, finally all patched up, and now we just have to plug it in and test it out. Alrighty, so I've got the amp on now, and I'm just looking through the vent here at the tubes. These are the 4 EL84 power tubes. You can see 2 glowing. It's hard to really point here, but there's 2 glowing here and 2 glowing on this side. Okay, so what I'm basically looking for, I know it's really hard to see here, and I'm super duper sort of zoomed in through the vent, is I'm going to turn the amp on and I'm going to look for red plating. I'll have the volume turned down. Let's flick it on and see what happens. So I've got the standby switch turned off, which means the amp is in play mode, and I'm just looking out for red plating. And all I can really see is the glow of the tubes here, so it's hard to tell through the camera, but I'm gonna say that there's no red plating. The glow you can kind of see here, that's not red plating. I'll turn the amp off and you can see that glow is still there. That's just the reflection of the heaters. And any buzzing, ticking sound, what it probably is I'm using my mobile phone to record. and it's very close to the amplifier, and also very close to the lead, which I've got right here. Okay, so oh, maybe that's a bit of a better view. Maybe I shouldn't bother getting so close. But if I turn the amp back on, and I'm going to be paying close attention to those tubes, we will plug a guitar into the amp and try it out in a moment. I think we're going to be okay. Alright folks, so next thing I'll do is plug a guitar in and play some music for you. It's pretty loud. I've barely got that turned up. There's a bit of reverb on there. So there you go guys, all fixed and running great, sounding loud as hell. There you go, the crate, what was it? Vintage something 30? Can't remember. It's at the beginning of the video. There you have it guys, have a good one.